Welcome to our Weird Scripture Bible Study series. Tonight we're going to investigate the weird stories of Judah and Tamar in Genesis chapter 38, verses 12 through 26. I'm your host, Brother Jared, and let's get started. Our story begins with Judah's wife, who was the daughter of Shua, who passes away. Judah is very sad, and he's in a period of mourning for his wife. But after time passes, he goes to a festival in Timnah to shear some sheep with his buddy Hira, the Edomite. Meanwhile, Tamar is told where Judah is planning to go with his friend, and she realizes that she will not be given a husband, that she will not be given Shelah from Judah. So she quickly takes off her widow clothes, covers herself with a veil, and then runs and sits by the entrance to Enim, which one has to pass on the way to Timnah. Judah sees Tamar sitting by the road and thinks that she is a prostitute because she has covered her face. He asks her if he can sleep with her. However, he doesn't realize that she is in fact his daughter-in-law. Tamar replies, "What will you give me if I sleep with you?" Judah says that he will give her a kid goat from his flock. Tamar asserts, "You have to give me some kind of collateral to assure me that you will give me the goat." "What kind of deposit should I give you?" Judah asks. "Give me your seal, its cord, and the staff in your hand." So Judah consents. He gives her his seal, his cord, and a staff in his hand, and he sleeps with Tamar. And after this event, Tamar leaves, dresses back into her widow clothes, and goes back home. But after this event, she becomes pregnant from Judah. Judah also returns home, and he sends back the kid goat with his neighbor, Hira the Edomite, to honor his deal with Tamar. Hira goes all around Timnah and Enim, but he can't find Tamar. He asks the locals, "Where is the temple prostitute who places herself on Enim's road?" They reply, "There is no temple prostitute on that road." So Hira returns and tells Judah that he couldn't find the woman. So Judah tells Hira to let the woman have the kid goat. Otherwise, he would become a laughingstock because he didn't honor his part of the deal. 3 months pass, and Judah learns that his daughter-in-law Tamar is pregnant. Many believe that Tamar has become pregnant through solicitations as a prostitute. So Judah tells his people to bring her out so that he can put her to death with fire. But while Tamar is being brought out, she tells Judah, "I'm pregnant by the man who owns these things." Then Tamar shows a seal and its cord and the staff. Judah recognizes that these items are his. And he's before everyone, and he proclaims, "Tamar is more righteous than I am, because I didn't allow her to marry my son Shelah." Judah never has relations with Tamar ever again. Our story is finished up for tonight, and it is quite eventful. You may have several questions about the significance of this story, and we can go through many different lenses to interpret the text. However, today, we are focusing on the main theme of the story, and that is the theme of childlessness. What about childlessness do I mean? Well, in order to understand our theme, we have to go back to Genesis chapter 38, verses 1 through 11, to understand the context of why Tamar motivates herself in disguising herself to trick her father-in-law Judah. Now Judah has moved away, and he moves away from his father Israel and his other family members. And Judah settles near his neighbor Hira, and he marries a daughter of the Canaanite Shua. And they settle down, and they have 3 sons together: Onan, and Shelah. Judah marries to a woman named Tamar. But the Lord considers as immoral, so God puts to death. Judah then asks Onan to go and to have sex with Tamar so that he can do his duty as the brother-in-law in providing children for lineage. Onan realizes that if he impregnates Tamar, her children won't be his. So he wastes his semen on the ground instead of impregnating Tamar. The Lord considers Onan's actions as wrong and detestable, and God also puts Onan to death. Now during this time, Tamar is a widow, and Judah tells Tamar to continue to stay as a widow until his youngest son, Shelah, grows up. Then Judah will give Shelah over to Tamar as her husband. Now Judah never gives Shelah over to Tamar. Let me say that again. Judah never gives Shelah over to Tamar. Judah believes that if Shelah is given over to Tamar, that he will also meet the same fate as and Onan. Upon understanding this context from Genesis 38 verses 1 through 11, our story makes much more sense. Now, when we read Genesis 38 verse 12, we see that Judah's wife, the daughter of Shua, has passed away. Now, Tamar understands that Judah will never give Shelah over to be her husband. She will forever be a widow. Now, childlessness is the ultimate shame that a woman could bear in Old Testament times. But Tamar also understands the covenant that Judah belonged under his forefather Abraham. Do you remember the covenant that God made with Abraham in Genesis 12? God promises Abraham that he will make Abraham's descendants into a great nation, and that his descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky or the sand on the seashore. Through Abraham's descendants, God promises that all the nations of the earth will be blessed. Judah will not give Shelah over because he thinks that Shelah will die just like his older brothers. Now, Judah's actions hinder the promise. They hinder the covenant that God made to Abraham. Judah is a descendant of Abraham. How can Abraham's descendants continue to multiply if Judah will not give Shelah over to Tamar so that he can continue to have children and thereby fulfill God's promise? Because of Judah's failure, Tamar hatches the plan to continue Abraham's lineage by tricking her father-in-law to sleep with her by dressing up as a prostitute. And her clever plan works. She tricks Judah, becomes pregnant, and then she protects herself by pulling out Judah's seal cord and even his own staff when confronted by death. Not only does she shame Judah, but she also continues the lineage of Abraham, because Judah and Tamar have 2 sons named Perez and Zerah. Abraham's covenant is upheld, and his descendants continue to grow and multiply. Even more interesting is that Jesus Christ comes from this lineage. Strange, right? In Matthew 1, verses 1 through 3, and in verse 16, we hear the lineage of Jesus. Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob was the father of Judah and his brothers. Then in verse 3 we hear, Judah was the father of Perez and Zerah, whose mother was Tamar. Even though this is a strange story in our modern ears, Tamar's actions, although deceptive, ultimately fulfill Abraham's covenant with God in producing descendants. Even though she herself was childless, her actions allowed Abraham's covenant to continue to be fulfilled. And who would have guessed that a future descendant from Tamar and Judah would be the Son of Man himself, Jesus Christ, who would go on to save humanity from their sins. Listed are our sources used. The pictures come from commonswikimedia.org and also morguefile.com. We also want to thank Gordon J. Wenham's article on Genesis 38 in the Word Biblical Commentary. Do you like our video? If so, please say so and share our video and like our video. Do you have any comments, questions, or critiques? Please comment below. Thank you all for joining us, and have a blessed night. Goodbye.